Christian Izzard. So first, we're going to start off with the introduction. Um, R&B singer Robert Kelly, also known professionally as R. Kelly. Um, the allegations date back up to 1990s and involve multiple women. Many were underage and at the time of the alleged incidents. Connecting R. Kelly to our class. So, in the following presentation, I will be connecting R. Kelly's trial to the information that we have learned in a few of the units that we went over during this semester. Psychology and the law. So, throughout the chapter um, of the course, we learned about a vast amount of psychology concepts. They connected to criminology. We learned that we have laws in place, um, basically that are used in the court system, and how our laws change over time, basically to adapt to the needs of society. So now, what exactly are Mr. Kelly's accusations? So as we go through the ages, one of the things that society has decided is to protect people's right to turn down sexual encounters. This is something that is very important. With an addition to this, we have also made the age of consent. This is the age where a person can legally agree to have sexual interactions with someone. Those who can't follow these rules will be punished by the law. Um, Kelly's allegations go all the way back to the 90s, so that's just one thing that we're going to keep in mind. Um, Theories of crime. Both genetic and psychological factors are emphasized in biological explanations of criminal behavior. Hereditary factors influence criminal behavior, but the mechanisms through which the influence they are exerted are unclear. The most likely candidates involve neurotransmitters and cortical brain structures, partially in prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for monitoring behavior, um, inhibition, planning, and decision making. Okay, this is another unit that we went over in class. In this unit, we learned the legal system and definition of insanity and the requirements to be insane. Now, when relating this to Robert Kelly, one question you may ask is why could he um, do such horrible acts? So, sadly, we may not know the reason why Robert Kelly committed such horrible crimes. However, based on what we learned in the units, it could be a mixture of several factors um, based on biological things going on, maybe childhood trauma. But while I do believe R. Kelly may be suffering from some mental health problems, um, I also agree that he did commit these acts understanding that what he was doing was wrong. So while during the court case, there were several um, eyewitnesses. One thing that we learned in class is that we have to kind of question the reliability of eyewitnesses because um, even if you may be right in front of an event happening, you can forget details. You may sometimes even make up details that didn't even happen. So, one documentary that came out about R. Kelly at the time of his arrest was the documentary Surviving R. Kelly. And this below is just a description of said documentary. This documentary series reveals a young woman emerging from the shadows and uniting their voice against Robert Kelly, celebrated as one of the greatest R&B singers of all time. Robert Kelly's career has been plagued with rumors and abuse, pedophilia, and predatory behavior towards women. Now, survivors are now stepping forward to detail new allegations about his physical, mental, and sexual abuse. More than 50 interviews with those who include civil rights activist Tara Burke, musician John Legend, and Sparkle. Talk show host Wendy Williams and R. Kelly's family shed light on the singer's controversial past. Now, one thing I learned from the chapter in the classroom is why should we trust these witnesses? Now, I'm not saying that they're not telling the truth, but it's always important to remember that a person is innocent until proven guilty. And one thing that we need to take into account is the reliability of the witnesses that we have on stand. So, couple of things that I thought while reviewing over this case was, according to the documentary, um, there were a lot of people that accused him, who knew that apparently knew that he did these accused crimes. So why are they just telling the truth now if they had multiple years to come out and say something before? Could they possibly be jealous of R. Kelly? Perhaps their memory isn't as good as they think. And lastly, could things well, I'm sorry. Yeah, these are all things that we need to take into consideration. Another unit that we went over evaluating criminal suspects. In this unit, we talked about false confessions, the role of torture can play, and yes, so on. Now, when specifically speaking about R. Kelly, he made it very clear to the public that and I quote, I didn't do it. Um, This is one thing that he really stressed very dramatically with the interview with Gayle King. Um, the interview would actually go viral across several social media platforms, with many people, however, not believing that R. Kelly was telling the truth. Traditional prosecution, arrest, bail, and plea. In this unit, we learned about the bail process and how bail is set. So now we're going to get into the verdict of R. Kelly that we learned. Um, so after more than 25 years of accusations and federal court trials in New York that lasted 7 weeks, R. Kelly was found guilty of several charges. These charges included exploitation of a child, bribery, racketeering, and sexual trafficking involving 5 victims. R. Kelly faces a possible sentence of 10 years to life in prison. Now, one other thing that I found out after doing this research is that he was later convicted again on separate accounts, and he was also convicted for some of those accounts as well. So his years in jail are definitely tallying up. So, what is the conclusion? Um, what can we say based on all this information? Basically, over this semester, I was able to learn a lot of things about psychology as well as the criminal justice system. With this knowledge, I can better both understand criminals as well as grasp and understand why they commit these crimes in the first place. Now, even though I don't know exactly what specific psych role that I want to go into, it's always beneficial to have a broad understanding of different concepts, and it can be very beneficial to my future.